Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope everyone who is tuning in today is doing super fantastic. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say make sure you're following me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay up to date on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. I'm genuinely curious. Everything is going to be linked in the description. All right, y'all, it officially happened. We got our first tall girl question of the semester. And we were going strong. Like only 2 people asked me how tall I was in the first week, not even on the first day, in the first week of school. And then this decided to happen. So I formally met one of my classmates, and before she even asked for my name, she asked me, "Do you model?" Not even a hello. How are you? My name is. What happened to that? So I was polite about it. I just didn't think too deeply into it. I don't think she meant it in a mean way or anything. So I just said no. And she was like, "Why not?" So I said that it's just something that I'm not really into. And she was like, "Well, you should because you're. And I'm like, "Because I'm tall?" She's like, "Yeah." Oh, goodness. Whatever. It's all good. Like, I'm not going to get pressed about it. I'm pretty sure she meant it in a nice way. She meant it as a compliment. But I was like, wow, I did not hear that question in a long time. And, there are days where I prefer that over the "do you play basketball or volleyball" question. So it was just funny. That's all. I'm not mad about it. I'm not pressed about it. It was just funny. I just thought that I should bring that up because, we're all about being tall here. So if that happened to you this week, it happened to me too. So you're not the only one. So while we're on the topic of being tall, I figured I could ask you a couple questions because, I just love asking questions that I know that I'm not going to get the answer to right away. But it's okay. We're still going to ask them anyways. Have you ever felt as though you are too tall for the space that you're in? Have you ever entered a room and immediately felt all eyes are on you? Have you ever wanted to just hide in a corner and disappear because you felt so out of place? If you answered yes to even just one of these questions, I completely understand you. I completely wholeheartedly understand you. Sometimes you can just really feel almost like a circus act. It's so weird. It just feels so weird saying that, but sometimes you can just feel like a circus act. Like people are literally just looking at you like, who's the big freak who's sitting over there? Especially when you're at a younger age and it's your peers because you want to be accepted by your peers. You want to be socially accepted, but you just don't feel socially accepted because of your height. And that's a very weird thing to not be socially accepted for because, number one, some people have growth spurts earlier on in their lives. So who's to say that those kids are not going to be around your height in the future? But number two, it's something that you really can't control. And there's more to a person than just their physical attributes, especially the ones that they don't really have much control over. And then it's even worse when you're not used to your very long dimensions, especially when you're younger. You're still growing into your body. You're still developing. So it's kind of hard to have control of your limbs. Let me tell you, I have kicked the back of people's chairs countless times. I'm the person who sticks their legs out when they're sitting in public transportation. And I have accidentally bumped into people so many times because of my long limbs. Wow. The amount of people I probably annoyed just by being tall. And annoying people used to really, really scare me. Okay, but when annoying strangers is a completely different thing because the likelihood that you'll ever see them again is whatever. But my classmates, my friends, my teammates when I played sports, my other fellow musicians when I am in a band, like no one wants to feel judged and unliked by these people. No one wants to feel judged and unliked by people that they care about or people that they're going to spend a lot of time around. Yet there were times where I truly felt that way simply because I existed, simply because I took up space. And I need a little bit more space than the average height person, simply because of my long limbs. But it just got so bad to the point where I screwed up my posture for several years. I literally physically curled up Back was horrible, but not even just my back. Because I told y'all way back when I found out that I was shorter than I actually was because of my lateral and anterior pelvic tilts. Even that, it was just not a good thing. My hips, my back, my shoulders, my neck, everything was just not in the place that it was supposed to be. And it's only been like a couple months since I found out that my posture was actually this bad. And yeah, I'm in the process of trying to uncurl myself, I guess you could say. But that's going to take a lot of time. But that's the effects of feeling as though I'm not allowed to take up space, or I shouldn't be taking up as much space as I was in that moment. Because I practically just wanted to be invisible. I did not want people to look at me. I did not want people to see me. Because I know that if they looked at me or if they saw me, not all the time, but probably 8 times out of 10, they would give me some type of dirty glare. And it's like, what did I do to you? All I did was breathe. You know what I mean? But anyways, I am straying from my point here. Society just plays a big role in, just making tall women feel like they shouldn't be taking up space. Making tall women feel as though taking up space is a bad thing. I mean, I could say that it's better now because being tall is acceptable if you play a sport or if you model, as I said earlier. But if you don't do any of those things, then you shouldn't really be taking any form of space. You're supposed to be petite. You're supposed to be small. You're supposed to be this tiny little thing. But the truth is, you're a human being. You exist. Your body literally has surface area. It's inevitable that you are going to take up space. You just need a little bit more, or maybe a lot more in some cases than the rest, especially if you got a whole foot on that other person. But what about it? It's, that's what I need to start saying. I'm tall, and what about it? It's as simple as that. Like, what are you mad for? I don't understand that part when people feel the need to make mean comments on other people's heights. But personally speaking, making mean comments for me being tall, like, what are you mad about? Because, okay, if I accidentally tripped you or bumped into you, I can understand that. But other than that, what does that have to do with you and your existence and your height and your life? Like, I don't understand how it's deterring you from living a happy and healthy life. They can't even answer the question because there's no problem. There's no problem with being tall. And honestly, you deserve to have all eyes on you. You are a rock star. You are a celebrity. You literally have fans waiting for you to pull up to the scene. Yes, they got their cameras out. Okay, they have their cameras out ready to take pictures of you when you're coming in. That's a little bit concerning, but you know what I mean. You are this little speck on this huge planet. You are this little speck in this entire galaxy. You take up 1/bajillionth, 1/bajillion, however many zeros that is. You take up 1/bajillion, I don't know, meters, centimeters, I don't know. Listen, you live in this big space. You live in this big planet. You live in this big galaxy. How are you taking up that much space when you think of it that way? You may feel like this big freak. You may feel like this giant monster, but in reality, you are a tiny, tiny, tiny speck in this planet. And you are a tiny, tiny, tiny speck in the entire galaxy, an even tinier speck in the galaxy for that matter, because the planet itself is a tiny speck in the galaxy. So you are an even tinier speck in the galaxy. You got to do the mathematics. You got to do the calculations on that one. In fact, there is so much space out there that I'm gonna need you to start taking up a little bit more, okay? And you are not alone. There is a whole community of other tall women who have experienced the same exact things as you. There's a whole community at Tall Girls Podcast. We got the Tall Girls Podcast community up in here. We all feel the same exact way and we are ready to support each other, you know? There's just something about tall women supporting other tall women. Like when I'm scrolling through my feed and I see some of your comments, I'm just like, yes, this is exactly what we need. We need to be hyping each other up. We need to be bigging each other up. We gotta be supporting each other. If you want that type of vibe, if you want that type of energy, if that's what you're into, join the Tall Girls Podcast community. Hit me up on my socials at a Tall Girls Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. And let me know what the vibe is. Let me know, have you gotten any tall girl questions this past week or this past month? What's bothering you? What's annoying you? I'm just down to talk about whatever. Or you could just say hi. You could literally just say hi and I'll say hi back. I will literally say hi back. But honestly, thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for making it to the end. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate you. As I said before, hit me up on my socials. They're all going to be linked below so it's easier for you. And I genuinely hope that you have a good rest of your day, night, week, month, year, life, etc. All that stuff. And any last words? You deserve to take up space. So start acting like it. Period. Anyways, I'll catch you in the next one. Good night and goodbye.